Hi, my name is Andrew Pavlich. I'm a philosophy professor here at UH Downtown, and I want to talk to you about our program. So a lot of people come into college not really knowing what philosophy is because you've never had a class in philosophy before. You may never have read a book on philosophy before, but you probably know what philosophy is because you've probably already done philosophy. Because everybody asks questions like, does God exist? And why are some things moral and other things immoral? And how should I live my life? And is there a purpose to what I'm doing? And is there an afterlife? Do I have a soul? Is there any hope for something to come? These are all big questions. These are all questions that people have been asking for a long, long time. And everybody, or at least almost everybody, has this kind of innate need to ask these things. You've probably talked about them with your friends. You've thought about them yourself. And in philosophy, you get to take whole classes on them. So UHD has, all of Texas has the Common Core in higher education. And at UHD, our version of the core means that you have to take one class in something called the Language, Philosophy, and Culture component. Let me call that up for you. So in the core, there are all these component areas, and one of them is the Language, Philosophy, and Culture component. There's all these classes. You have to take one of them at some point. You can take classes with my colleagues in English, and they're great, fun classes. And you could take classes in Humanities, also great classes, and Spanish is great. Or you could take one of these three classes with us in philosophy. And that's what I want to talk about. So if you want to look at the classes that we have on offer, you can do that. So from any page at UHD's website, you can go over here to My UHD. And then click on Students. And then click up here at the top on Class Schedule and E-Syllabi. And then you get to this page, set the institution to UHD, set the term to fall. And if you pick in the subject, if you pick philosophy, you see all the classes that philosophy is offering in the fall semester. So there are three that you can take in the core. One of them is Philosophy 1301, Intro Philosophy. So this can be a little confusing with all this information here. What this means is that all of these classes are Philosophy 1301, Intro Philosophy. They're different times and different instructors, but they're all the same class. And you could take this in the core. Intro Philosophy is a really neat class. It's a lot of freshmen take the class in their first year. What the class is about varies from professor to professor. The point of Intro to Philosophy is to introduce you to philosophy. You see, philosophy is a really old discipline. People have been asking these big questions about life and meaning and the universe and God and all of that. People have been asking these questions for centuries. And we philosophy professors have been reading these things and thinking about these things and writing about these things and reading about these things and talking about these things for years ourselves. So every person teaching intro philosophy picks the parts of philosophy that they think are the most interesting, and just, that's what the class is. So I would encourage you when you're looking here to go over here to the syllabus column and click this thing. They're not all up there yet, but a bunch of them are. And you can see for each individual class what the class is going to be about. And you can scroll down. There's going to be a schedule here where it's going to say, what the topics are week by week. And you can compare the different intro philosophy classes that way and see if there's one that appeals to you. The other class you can take in our core is this one, 2305, Contemporary Ethical Issues. This class deals with right and wrong. And each class, again, is a little bit different from the rest because each class takes 4 or 5 different ethical questions and really digs into them. Questions like, is abortion right? Is gun control moral? What about animal rights? Do we owe moral respect to animals? What about the ethics of war? Are some actions in war okay that aren't okay otherwise? These are all contemporary ethical issues. And each of these classes deals with a handful of these. And you get to learn both about the issues, but also about how to think about things how to think about moral questions philosophically. The third class you can take in our core is the meaning of life. This is a really neat class. You shouldn't expect an answer to the meaning of life. It doesn't really work like that. But what you will get is practice thinking about these questions. You'll get practice thinking about the meaning of life. You'll get practice thinking philosophically. And that's much more important than just having an answer. Because when you have the capacity, the ability to think about things for yourself, well, then you can take that ability to any philosophical question. So those are the classes in the core. You'll notice there's a bunch of other classes in philosophy that I didn't mention. Some of these are offered every semester. Some of them change and rotate every semester. If you're going to start for your first philosophy class, you might as well pick one in the core, get that out of the way also. But you could take a look at these other classes because down the road you might be interested in some of this stuff.